Well, it's that time, folks. It's that time. And if you ain't been paying attention to a person named Amber, then you missed out on it all. You know why? Because now she's over there on the one and only TikTok. You know why? Because she got kicked off of YouTube once again, twice again. We're going to go for 3 times again, and it's never going to stop. You know why? Because Amber got no control, folks, and she not going to stop what she's doing because there's no penalty what she does. She got, 90 days off of YouTube twice, and she continues to do the same thing over and over. So you know what she did last night or yesterday, whenever it was, she went live on TikTok. She thought she was like some celebrity. She came live. It was like 40-something minutes, 45 minutes. She was going live. She was talking and saying all this nonsense. I hate to break it to you. It was the saddest thing I have ever seen over there. I thought the LCU was bad, but this was even worse. It was like, you was taking an acting class, right? And you didn't know nothing about acting and you was just reading the script. She was just over there like, hi, I'm Amberlynn. And yes, folks, I'm going to be over here live maybe a few times a day. And I mean, she had no emotion at all. It was like, how can I say, monologue? What is that? Monotone, right? Monotone, not stereo. She was just like monotone, like, oh yes, I'm Amber Reid, and yes, you are my subscribers. Thank you for watching. Thank you, buy my camera. It was just like terrible. Amber, what are you doing over there? That was awful. You didn't even learn for 4 months to act. I thought you was like this character on the LCU, and you was doing all this bits and all nonsense. But over there, it was sad to watch. Amber, I don't even know what you got to do. She just got to become a person. She's forgot who she is. She's not even trying anymore. She just here for the paycheck. And on top of that, now she just added how can I say, the subscription. She put the subscription there to make sure that people can pay her. Yes, folks, she didn't come over here to be your friend and love you and go live and be your famous celebrity on YouTube. Nope. She had to put up that, look at right here. Boom, $2.40-something. You need to be a subscriber, and then you could get all this post and nonsense and stuff that she's never going to commit to. She's just going to quit over there like the LCU. But this live stream dragged on, man. It was like 40 minutes, and the saddest part, she haven't learned nothing. Like, she had put nothing there. She just came on camera, said a bunch of nonsense for 40 minutes. We've dealt with this, 2 or 3 live stream errors over here, errors or whatever it is like that. We dealt with the whole 4 months in the LCU, and nothing at all. No content. Like, you buy a book, no pages, nothing in there, no lines, no text, no font, nothing, no paragraph. That's the content that she wants, and she wants people to pay her for this. That's the wildest part. You know what it's like? I'm going to give you a little bit sample right here so you don't even have to watch it. You know why? Because there's nothing there to watch. It's like if you went to your local cinema, right? You spent $19.99, you bought yourself a big cup of whatever popcorn, and you went into the theater, you sat down, you put your legs up in that chair, and you started to watch the screen, and you wait, and you're like, it's coming on in 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes pass, and then the screen just never comes on. And you're like, what's going on? Maybe it's a little bit late, right? And then 2 hours pass, and then you just said, well, they never turned it on, and you left. That's the content that Amberlynn Reid is supplying over there. Nothing. 0%, 100%, 0%, nothing at all. And that's what she's going to give to people. And then charge, $2.49 for person subscribe to that nonsense? Yes, folks, everybody's going to run over there. And you know what's going to happen later? She's going to raise it to $4.99, $5.99, $99.99. She's going to slip it in there and hope you don't notice. But on top of that, we went through this whole live stream that she did over there, and then it came to the worst part. And now, this is the part that Amberlynn Reid has done this once, twice, 3 strikes, and she's now out, folks. She was on there, and it got to the end of the stream, and she was like, oh, I'm gonna get off in a little while, I'm gonna go walk Twinkie, whatever nonsense right there. And Twinkie was crying and moaning and crying. And Amberlynn Reid just, how can I say, she just ignored it, Amber. She was just like, ignore, oh yes, Twinkie, you're yeah, and just mumbling and saying nonsense, and then crying more. Twinkie, our Queen Twinkie was crying maybe 10 times, and Amberlynn Reid didn't even look. She didn't even hesitate. She didn't do nothing. She didn't get up, say, oh my goodness, what happened to my Queen Twinkie, the pet that I love all this time? Nothing at all. No care, no emotion, nothing. And that's one thing we don't mess around here over in Girl World. You could do whatever you want, Amberlynn Reid. You mess around with the, how can I say, the animals and the people that is loved here. That does not go down over here. And that's what you did. You the one that comes up in here and says, I love all my pets. I loved Rarity. I went out there searching. I had everybody in the world looking for it. And that was a lie. You lied a million times. And now, how could I say, Twinkie's now in pain and we at the same point. You don't care at all. And that's the saddest part. You come on here hundreds of times saying you this fur mama and you take care of your pets and you take them to the vet every single day and you get their nails done and all this nonsense that nobody believes. Not even anybody, not even a person, nobody, not even an AI. AI is like, nope, Amberlynn Reid over there, she lying. The AI is like, I detected you lied and that's how it is. And you come over here and you play this righteous person that's this wonderful pet owner, but when your pet was live on camera crying, this was not an edited vlog that you left in there for, how can I say, effect, right, to get us all riled up. You left it in there and then did nothing. You had the chance to go over there, say, oh my goodness, run off camera, I want to see what's going on with Twinkie, but you didn't do nothing. You know why? Because you don't care. That's one thing I have found over the years of watching Amber, that she doesn't care about anybody but herself. And that's the saddest part, right? She has a whole bunch of exes in the past. We can't even find one. Not a single person that will say something positive about Amber. Nobody, zero people, right? That is just mind-blowing, right? My mind has left the building, folks. It is gone. And it should never be like that. You should be able to date somebody. You break up, whatever, you have a bad relationship, you move on there. But they're going to say, you know, they was good in this situation. They helped me out. They was a great person, but it just didn't work. People that was dating Amberlynn, they can't run fast enough. They leave their shoes on the floor. They just run out of there. Tommy couldn't get rid of Amberlynn Reid fast enough, right? If Amberlynn Reid could have just been, how can I tell, the private jet out of there from Wisconsin, she would have been on the first jet all the way back to Oklahoma. And that's the wild part. You know, sometimes you mess up, right? You make mistakes over and over. We all make mistakes. I made a billion mistakes. And you know what I try to do? I try to learn and better myself. And if I can, I try again and again until I get it right, or at least try. I'm going to not give up. I'm going to try a million times. And if it didn't work, you know, I'm going to keep trying. That's the difference between society and Amberlynn Reid, right? She over there, she make mistakes. She don't care. There's no penalty to that. Why would I change my outcome if I not get penalty for it, right? If I got paid $10 to do it right or wrong, did it matter if I did it right or wrong? Nope. Why would I even try? That's her whole mindset. That's what I believe. That's my opinion of what Amberlynn Reid is, right? That's her whole thing. She went on YouTube. She did it for years, right? She didn't care what she posted. She's getting millions and billions of dollars. Like, remember this right here? Look at this. Boom. $32,000 a month in December for Vlogmas. I want you to think about it. $32,000, and that was no content over there. It was just nonsense and whatever she put up for 25 days or 30 days or whatever it is. 32,000. I know you watched it. If you didn't watch it, you can find one of the channels. They have like reruns all the way back in the day, like 10 years of Amber's content. I want you to go back and watch that, right? And you're going to say, what is this? Like, how did somebody make $32,000? Put no effort, zero effort. Well, think about it. It was Vlogmas, so she was even putting less effort. She would just come on and she would say, oh, I bought a Lego set, I bought a shoe, I bought a sock, and she would show nonsense. Look at like these pair of socks right here, these casino socks or whatever. And she got 32,000, but there was no penalty, right? It wasn't like she was struggling to get like every single buck to try to pay the rent, right? She was just privileged at that point to make so much money off of whatever she was doing. And now that she has to come on the YouTube and on TikTok and all these other places to try to make money, she can't even change it. You know why? Because she never put any effort in there. She never tried. She never did a playbook. She wrote 5,000 journals, folks, of nonsense that made no sense. She should have put that much effort inside of learning to make better vlogs, making better live streams, making better YouTube videos for her audience. Did she do that? Nope. You know why? Because the check continued to come in. And that's the saddest part. I want you to think back to the most recent live stream before the LCU, how can I say, era over there, right? She had her memberships up there. She had all this stuff. She was making thousands a month, right? And she was not even coming. She was not coming. She was like, I'm going to guarantee 2 hours a day, whatever nonsense a week or whatever it is. And then she cut it down to 30 minutes. She's like, you know, I don't care. They paying me. I'm looking at that check coming. Nobody's canceling, right? And then she just started to not come for an entire month. She didn't even post for a month. She took all the money that people their donations, they was waiting. They're sitting around, oh, Amberlynn Reid, I love her. I'm going to be here to watch them live streams. And nothing came day after day. And her check continued to go in her pocket and out, and she spent it on whatever nonsense she did. And that's the worst part. She could have easily said, you know I'm not going to show up for month. I should not be taking everybody's money. They're generous enough people. They did super chats. They did everything. They've supported my lifestyle for 10 years. Maybe I'll just disable this because I feel bad to take somebody's money and I'm not going to give him anything. But she did not do that. She just took the money and she wouldn't even do a community post. She wouldn't even give that. Like, she was so busy over there. I don't know what she was doing. It doesn't matter because it was nothing. She wouldn't even do a community post to say, hey, whatever, I'm bungee cording around the world. I was in Mount Everest and I climbed to the top and I couldn't get a signal, so I couldn't make videos, right? She couldn't even give us something like that. But the moment she get demonetized, folks, you can see that she appears. She gives these long paragraphs, 900-page dissertations that she been demonetized with links to every single place to support her. Go to Cameo, go to here, send me money orders, send me cash checks, whatever it is. She have plenty of time to do it when she don't have the money coming in, but when she has it, she's not gonna give it back out. That's the wildest part. And now that she demonetized for the second time in a year, you can see she's trying to find a way to get that cash check coming in again, right? She's now on TikTok, but she was gone for a week. So when she's gone for time and she ain't got no money, she's getting a check from the last month. So she's not worried about it. She probably still got money coming in from the LCU from like that 4 months, right? So she's not gonna really be like, how can I say, upset right now until the moment that she have nothing in but a TikTok subscriptions for $2 and something. And she's like, whoa, what am I gonna do now? Because we had a little bit sample when she got demonetized and she was upset. She was like, oh my goodness, I have nowhere to work. I have nothing. I need a penny. Give me a penny. Every single penny counts. Please send me Venmo, whatever it is, of a penny. So you can see she can get upset when she wants to. She could do what she wants to. She can post when she wants to, but she chooses not to. And I was watching this live stream, and let's move on because that was a whole bundle right there in the back. Sorry, it was so much bundle, but that's what I had to say. I don't even know how I didn't breathe in there. There's a lot of talking. So we're going to move on to another topic that Amber said over there. She said, I want you to listen carefully, that she got rid of and shredded or deleted or ripped up all all her journals, folks. Remember them journals for 13, 15, 100 years? She had them piled up like an entire, how can I say, storage unit. She had like storage units full of the daily journals for every single thing she's ever done. And she says she used to keep them for her memory so she could look back and all this. But for her to say that she got rid of it and deleted and shredded it all and ripped it up or whatever she did with it, there's a little bit suspicion going on there. Why would you delete your whole life story right there that you wrote in them books right there unless there was something you didn't want there? It doesn't make no sense, right? So you know what I was doing, folks? I was like, let me run this through my head. Let me do some detectiveness to see why she could possibly do this. This could be totally off the, how can I say, off the bell curve or whatever, some big word that people use, right? Maybe it's a whole story that doesn't make sense. But I was thinking about it. Remember, she broke up with Tommy, right? And she came on, she was saying some wild stuff, right? She was saying all this bad stuff about Tommy, blah, blah, blah. And she says, I'm going to go into my journal and I'm going to read exactly what happened on that. It was Tommy came into my room and she gave me a hug or whatever nonsense right there. But think about it. This is when they broke up and Amber was saying that Tommy was doing all this negative stuff and she was blasting her and she was saying nasty thing and reading word for word. She would say whatever it is on the page, right? And she said, this is the truth because I wrote it in my journal, right? I wrote it here. So everything in here is 100% the truth, right? That's what Amber came on and she said this to us, that this is how it is. Whatever she writes in there is the truth, right? And then it came out later. I want you to remember this, that she said live on camera, folks, that what she said about Tommy was all lies. It was false. She made the story up. I want you to think about it. So Amberlynn Reid was over there writing journals of stuff that did not happen and then saying and claiming they was true. think about that. That's straight up slander. If you came on here and made up a story like that and you read it out of the book that you said this happened to you and it did it, think about it. That is 100% malicious. You made a story that didn't exist to make someone else on the internet or wherever it is in a public forum look bad, right? And you blasted them and say negative things. And the number one grounds, Amberlynn Reid comes over here 100 times and she says she knows the slander and defamation rules. And she has stated it in the past, folks. She said, if it is malicious, if you do it and it's bad and malicious, then it's slander. Amberlynn Reid, I hate to tell you, you came on here, admitted that something was not the truth. You stated it as a fact and did it out of anger towards the person in a malicious way. Amberlynn Reid, there's your whole thing right there. If there's anybody that could sue Amberlynn Reid, it's going to be Tommy for coming on and putting that whole show on there and lying all that stuff. I want you to think about it right there. That's a person that you cannot be around, right? You don't want people that's going to write journals that's not the truth and get you in trouble later. Say, I wrote this like 6 years ago. It had to be the truth. Maybe somebody would believe you, but we can see how she is, and that is a dangerous person to be around. Well, that's the end of the video, folks, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Later.